Welcome to the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast on Tobacco Road Sports Radio and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com as part of your Wrestling Wednesday card. I'm your host, Michael Davis. A lot to dissect this weekend, but WWE United Champions and AEW Double or Nothing took the cake. You know him. You love him. Shane Smith joins me right now and Drop the Mic to share his thoughts on the big wrestling weekend right now. Shannon, what's up, my guy?
I know I've been gone for a while and I apologize, but I'm ready to talk wrestling. I had to get a little bit of time to think a little bit, process everything from Double or Nothing and Night of Champions. But we're ready to do this.
You're ready to do it? Well, I'm ready to do it. Let's get underway because we had not one but two pay-per-views to break down. And of course, we're not even touching NXT Battleground. We're not touching Impact Under Siege. We're not touching New Japan's Best of Super Juniors finals. There was a lot of wrestling this weekend. I still haven't watched it all. Shan, honestly, before we get into these pay-per-views, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I feel like the business is booming.
Absolutely. I've been saying that. We said that the last time I was on the show with you, like when they talked about in 96 when wrestling was cool again. You know, there's no doubt that wrestling is cool right now with all the stuff that we got to watch.
It's incredible, and I had a really good weekend just watching wrestling and chilling, and also my Miami Heat won back on Monday night.
I saw that coming. I saw that win coming. I really did. I mean, I really saw that coming. But another show, another time. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that maybe out of pocket, but that I might even just dedicate the entire depend how game one of the finals goes tomorrow night against the Nuggets. I might dedicate the entire show to the Miami Heat.
Ooh.
And Tobacco Road own Caleb Martin. He grew up. He went to Davie County High School, but that's going to be another time. That's going to be Friday Out of Pocket Live with Michael Davis, 4:00 as part of your TGI Friday lineup. But it's part of your Wrestling Wednesday card. Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast, and we started Night of Champions. We started the weekend with Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles for the World Heavyweight Championship. They've continued the lineage. They've continued the history of the World Heavyweight title back from its original incarnation. So this was not the first ever World Heavyweight Champion. This was the first World Heavyweight Champion since Randy Orton. So that is the lineage we are taking with it. And I don't think it was any surprise to anybody that Seth Rollins won this. You didn't seem too surprised either.
Nope. Did not seem surprised at all. I don't know about anybody else, but did you feel like this title was tailor-made for Seth Rollins?
Absolutely.
I did too. I thought that this match I thought this title has Seth Rollins written all over it. I mean, AJ Styles, of course, very wonderful performer, legendary performer, but you couldn't give that title to AJ Styles right now. You couldn't with the momentum that Seth Rollins has. And what this title is going to do is this is going to allow Seth Rollins to flip-flop between heel and face. I think that is probably going to be great because, once again, I'm a big fan of heel Seth Rollins. I like face Seth Rollins, but I'm a big fan of heel Seth Rollins. And this title gives him a chance to be either or. So putting a title on Seth Rollins is going to bolster him even more. And we might see that heel Seth Rollins. Who knows?
Yeah, some of the best heel champions start out as faces, and then once they feel like their title's in a threat, it's in jeopardy of being lost, then they turn heel and keep the title. And honestly, seeing Seth Rollins with the World Heavyweight title, celebrating that Night of Champions, but mainly on Monday Night Raw, he came through the crowd. He's wearing the new big gold belt.
Yeah.
And it just fit him. But my only issue was what happened after Seth Rollins had come down to Monday Night Raw. Here comes AJ Styles, SmackDown superstar in street clothes. And Shannon, I really want to talk about Night of Champions, but I really want to talk about what was the point of having this game-changing WWE draft a month ago if we just saw a SmackDown superstar. I mean, and I had no issues with AJ Styles competing for the World Heavyweight title at Night Champions. Hey, if he wins, he moves to Raw. No big deal. And you don't like eliminate a challenger from Seth Rollins potentially in Raw. But for him to show up Monday night on Raw as a SmackDown superstar, it just made everything seem like it didn't matter. And that's so frustrating from my point of view.
You know what? I didn't think about that until you brought that up. I was more bought into the fact that Seth Rollins had a party pooper on his hands for him celebrating the match, which I think was a good idea. But but you're absolutely right. We had this draft, we had this brand split again, but yet you're going to have AJ Styles go on the rival show and go after the man who has a rival title. It just I don't know what that was going to accomplish. Was it bleed over from the pay-per-view? Was it something for the crowd, one time only, before AJ Styles goes to SmackDown? Is Seth Rollins going to respond? Does he need to respond? You pretty much left a door open. You left the door open. And what's going to close that door? We don't know.
It should have been Night Champions. Seth wins. AJ Styles stays on SmackDown, runs the OC, maybe challenge Roman Reigns once all this stuff with the bloodline we'll get into a little later boils over. But golly, come on, man. Like, let Raw be Raw.
But would you want to see, seriously, just honestly answer me here. Would you want to see AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns? Or would you want to see AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins? Again.
I want to see Styles versus Roman. We haven't gotten that since Extreme Rules 2016, and I still hold the opinion that that was the best face Roman match of all time.
Yeah, I mean, why would you not do it? I mean, I didn't want to see because there's no build for Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. There was no build. The only thing it was for the title. These guys had no like rivalry or a story build up with them. It was just, okay, you guys wrestling for the title, put on a great show.
And they did.
And they did. And they done wonderful. Okay, so let it go.
Let it go. There's plenty of guys on Monday Night Raw that can face Seth Rollins. I'm sure we'll get into that here in the weeks to come to see who would be best to challenge for Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight title. But we got to move on to this women's match, Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. Now, there's obviously happened in Saudi Arabia. If you don't know, when women are competing in Saudi Arabia, they have to be very modest with their clothing and pretty much covered from, neck to toe. And I think they did a very good job with this, Shannon, because usually it's just like, we're going to randomly cover you up. No, like Trish Stratus, her gear was basically just what she would typically wear.
Right.
And except, not showing any her parts or whatever. But Becky Lynch came out in like a race car jumpsuit. Like, that was very creative. I love that they came out in that type of gear.
It shows their versatility. They're here to put on a good wrestling match. They're not here for anything else. There you go.
They're not. And maybe a little bit of shenanigans because at the very end of the match, it was very well done. Trish Stratus tries to escape underneath the ring. Becky pulls her out, throws her inside the ring, and Becky, as she's about to get back into the ring, here comes Zoe Stark, and Zoe Stark costs Becky Lynch the match, aligning herself with the legend, the GOAT. You're supposed to thank Trish, not acknowledge her. You're supposed to thank Trish Stratus. Shannon, I kind of like this pairing.
It's a smart move for Zoe Stark, to be honest with you, because Trish is at a point in her career where she's going to be a springboard. She's going to be a springboard for younger wrestlers. As far as aligning with her, she's going to push these young wrestlers. Also, with what she's doing with Becky Lynch, because you hear about this in sports and all the time. Oh, what if LeBron and Mike went at each other? What if KD and Bird went at each other one-on-one? Now you're getting Trish Stratus, who is probably one of the best female wrestlers in WWE history, up against Becky Lynch, who is without a doubt the most popular female wrestler in the WWE right now. You're getting past and you're getting present. You're getting that answer that many people want to know the question to with this match. And also, Trish is at a point where she can still go and she can give a good match to Becky Lynch and make Becky Lynch even better. So she's a springboard. It's a smart move. It's good to put a young Zoe Stark with her. And it's good to put her in the ring with Becky Lynch as well, too, because it benefits both. Trish has done a lot in her career, so why not give back?
And honestly, watching Trish Stratus, if you told me she was like a legend and, she's just coming off as a part-time wrestler, she is doing some incredible work. I'm
Absolutely.
like, is this prime Trish Stratus? You were talking about the dream matches. Trish is 47 years old. I know
Yeah.
you're never supposed to like ask a woman her age, but Wikipedia did. And she's 47 years old. And
Yes.
she can go like she is. She
Mm-hmm.
can talk on the mic and not sound outdated. I
Yep.
mean, she is your perfect ideal legend wrestler who comes back because she is having this WWE 2K dream match with Becky Lynch, as you said.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And to add on top of it, it's not like she's come back for her own gain.
No.
It feels like guys like Brock Lesnar have come back for their own gain,
Yep.
their own name,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. But with Trish Stratus aligning herself with Zoe Stark, that shows that she is pushing the present with Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
And she's pairing herself with Zoe Stark to give her that rub to push the future of the women's industry. And honestly, kind of solidifying Trish's claim as being the GOAT, which is what her character is trying to prove to everybody right now.
Now think about it right here. Does this look familiar to you? There was a female at one point in time that Trish Stratus took under her wing, and she became a multiple women's champion. Do you know who that is?
Depends. Is her name Mickey James?
There you go. There you go. See? Once again, look at what we're seeing here. Parallels of another universe. We're entering the Twilight Zone.
We're in the Twilight Zone. The World Heavyweight title's back. Trish Stratus is on Raw. We're entering the Twilight Zone.
There you go.
Now, Mustafa Ali just entered a black hole this week. He had a rough week, man. I mean, I was in Greensboro with my buddy Chris Cox. He's been on the show before. We saw Mustafa Ali win the Battle Royal to challenge Gunther at Night of Champions. That was unexpected. But ever since, it's been downhill. He goes to Saudi. He gets destroyed by Gunther and loses to the Intercontinental Champion. No surprise there.
No.
There's no reason to expect Ali's beating Gunther and in that historic run.
Absolutely not.
Man, Mustafa Ali last week on Monday Night Raw, he's just trying to give a backstage interview and promote his match. Brock Lesnar interrupts him, says, "Get a life, kid." And I'm like, dang, this is the second time that Brock Lesnar has buried Mustafa Ali on WWE television. Lesnar even came down for Money in the Bank as Ali's holding the briefcase. And Lesnar comes down, squashes him, and wins the Money in the Bank briefcase that he wasn't even the match in.
Exactly. I mean, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. Honestly, to be real about it, man, I mean, Brock Lesnar is basically the hook to Mustafa Ali. And when I say that, that is He's been on the stage too long, and the Hook has to come out and get him off the stage. I think that was Brock Lesnar both times.
Are you trying to compare that to when Triple H had to pull Ric Flair off the Hall of Fame speech? Man,
Again, another one. You 2 for 2, right?
Twilight Zone, baby.
Oh man, you can't miss right now. You're Jimmy Butler the other night. You know what I'm saying?
It's Jimmy Butler, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm like, I put out on social media. I'm like, hey guys, I did this Monday night before Game 7. I was like, if things go south, don't text me. Don't text me.
I saw it.
Let me mourn.
This
has been a great season. I've been getting left and right texts from people. Oh, the here blowing a 3-0 lead as an X seed. I'm like, we shouldn't even be here.
Yeah, right.
Keep quiet. And then to go out on Boston's home court and
and torch them, carve them up, man. For real, they carved them up, man. That was true. I didn't see them carving them up like that. I saw a good game, and then Boston would give it away in the fourth quarter. Just Miami being too much, and then just riding out maybe 7 points or less. But nah, from start to finish.
Yep. Everybody thinks it was set up for Boston to win Game 7, to win that series, and nobody gave them a chance. A lot like people didn't give Asuka a chance against Bianca Belair at Night Champions. And Bianca Belair's had a historic run as Raw Women's Champion, even though she's a SmackDown superstar now. Again, with the brand split, whatever. But when Asuka beat Bianca Belair, I was genuinely shocked. What was your reaction to Belair dropping the title?
You know what, man? I really wasn't shocked. I really was not, because I really thought that Backlash was the writing on the wall for Bianca. I really thought it was when she had her great match and she started turning heel in between that match when we talked about on your last show. I felt like that was the writing on the wall. When I saw that she was going up against Asuka, I was like, she's dropping the title tonight. I really think it makes a lot of sense to put the title on Asuka right now. I think it is, because you got to talk about the best women's performer. I would probably say maybe in all of women's wrestling. I would have to say she's got to be it. She's without a doubt. And so why not put the title on her? Bianca's great. Now, mind you, Bianca's great. And I enjoy her character. Her character is great. But I think it's time to put the title on Asuka. I think it is.
You saying the greatest women's performer, and we just got done talking about Trish Stratus?
No, I mean right now, man. I mean right now. In the current. I mean, I get it. Look, I get what you're saying, but in the current right now, because we're looking at Asuka being Trish in the next 10 years. Like probably for the next 10 years, I would say 5 to 10 years, she's gonna be featured. She's gonna be a featured female wrestler. I'd probably say throughout the world, and you can't tell me, considering the fact that she was in Japan many, many times, which is like a wrestling country right now, and she survived, and she was great at it. Come on, man. Worldwide, give me Asuka. I'll take her.
I'm putting Bianca Belair over her, like the power reign she just had. Belair's like the John Cena of this women's generation.
I understand that right there, but you've got to look at it skill for skill. You have to look at her. You got to put her in there. You have to, and putting a title on her is very, very smart right now.
Well, are we getting a rematch at least from these two?
Yes. You have to have a rematch. Yes.
Okay. Just so we're clear.
I would never say one and done on a match like that. No, because that was a wonderful match. It was. I mean, so you got to give it another one. And I wouldn't be surprised if it were a special match, special stipulations. You got to. I mean, because this match right here is going to be probably warming up to your big cards right now. Because you can't, because how this pay-per-view went, putting that match in the middle was a good move.
It was a good move, and obviously this preceded Natalya and Rhea Ripley. I don't even think we got to cover that. I mean, everything happened. There was You could have spoiled it for me, but you didn't have to spoil it for me.
No surprise.
Natalia
Right?
stood no chance
No
against
chance.
Rhea
No
Ripley. And so Rhea Ripley is the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw. Asuka is the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown. And then we get into our double main event, Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. And I told people, and I put this out on social media as well at Drop the Mic Wrestling. You can follow us on Instagram. We've been releasing reels. I'm telling you, Brock Lesnar goes over. We talked about this on Out of Pocket last week with Desmond Johnson and Zach Colbert. Brock Lesnar's going over. And guess what happens? Not saying I told you so, but I told you so.
You're right. You're right.
Brock Lesnar beat Cody Rhodes.
You're right.
I thought they did a really good job of like ending the match though.
Yeah.
And not letting Cody tap out.
No, because that would have shown with all the push of Cody in these past 3 months, that would lower Cody's stock, having him tap out like that. Although, Brock Lesnar had that hold applied, and he had him, and that match was that was a rough match. I tell you, I mean, getting in the ring with Brock Lesnar has to be a very tough task for anybody, because Brock Lesnar is not the lightest wrestler when it comes down to physicality. A lot of guys talk about he's rough in the ring. Of course he is. So, yeah, not letting Cody tap out was smart.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like Cody lost clean either.
Nah.
But also, Lesnar didn't have to cheat to win. Like,
No.
Cody passed out because his broken arm and the pain from that. Like, that shows a valiant hero who will go to the lengths to try to beat anybody. And I feel like if you're trying to build Cody up to an eventual rematch against Roman Reigns at next year's WrestleMania, that's the way to do it. And then we get a trilogy with Rhodes Lesnar, maybe at Money in the Bank.
You know what? Why not? Why not?
Unless you're trying to.
Will he do it again?
Oh, no. You got to have Cody win the trilogy,
Yes.
It's a best of 3 series, and, Cody's got to win. Just like the Miami Heat have to win, baby.
Tall order with the Denver Nuggets, man. It's a tall order. But it's not something that can't be done.
Well, it was a tall order for Milwaukee.
Very much.
5 games.
Very much.
A tall order for the Knicks. 6 games. It was a tall order for the Celtics, almost blowing a 3-0 lead to win Game 7 on the road. Like, I'm telling you, heck, I'm on cloud 9. I'm proud of that team, by the way. That is
and you have all the right in the world to be. You should. What's not to be proud of?
This is the best team I've ever watched. And I'm not saying like
debatable
73-9, Warriors, not saying like the most talented team, not saying like this is the best team in NBA history. This is my favorite team that I've gotten to watch.
Oh yeah.
Because they're a team.
Look at how they came together. I mean, look at the gelling of a squad. And I was talking to some of these guys later on, some of my buddies. I was telling them, I'm like, look, you've got 2 teams that play great team basketball. The Celtics play great team basketball. The Heat play great team basketball. So it's going to be hard to play 2 squads that are wonderful teams. Like, they are a actual team. And even though they have their stars, even though they have their individual players, that squad plays together and knows each other and understands each other. So when it gets crunch time, when it gets to that third, fourth quarter, that first, second half, what are you going to do? These guys lean on each other.
Yeah, and this is going to be a great NBA Finals with Denver Nuggets, the powerhouse, versus Miami Heat. And Miami's going to have to make Denver crumble, kind of like the main event Night of Champions, where we saw Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defend their tag titles against Solo Sikoa and the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. And I saw the Usos coming out and costing them, but Shannon, man, I tell you, I couldn't have booked it better.
Yes.
This was, oh my gosh, like what was your reaction when not only Jimmy kicked Roman once, but then doubled down and did it again?
This was me at the TV. This was me right here. This was me going, come on,
Everybody on our
come on,
YouTube, look.
come on. This was me. I'm like, come on, come on. And when he did it, I was like, that did it. That's it. That's it. That's the finale. That's it. That's it. The Usos are going to do their own thing, and they're going to go into it as a squad, maybe. Will the brothers go against each other? But more or less, the bloodline, well, your tag team from the bloodline is pretty much essentially done.
Now, this is pretty hard for me, as our YouTube audience can see. The Bloodline t-shirt that Rikishi promoted at Ric Flair's last match in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes.
And
yes.
I ended up buying, Rikishi's there, Yokozuna, Umaga.
Woo.
Lower on the shirt, if I were to stand up, it'd be like Roman Reigns, the Usos, the tag titles, the Universal title. I mean,
a lot of history, man. A lot of history.
They've got some good merch out too.
They do.
It feels like every month. It feels like the John Cena.
A new shirt.
Like,
a new shirt every month.
A new shirt every month. What color is it going to be now?
Absolutely.
But the story behind this was so, we can't even begin to break all of this down, because the Usos, when Sammy turned on Roman, you could see how Jimmy Uso was like, okay, I'm taking action right now. Let's go. And Jey Uso was like paralyzed in fear.
Yep.
And then when Jimmy turned on Roman, Jey still is like paralyzed, not knowing what to do. Like, he takes time to process things. And then once Sami and Kevin won the match, the picture of Sami Zayn on the ropes taunting Roman as he's sitting on the floor after watching his family, his empire crumble.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. The storytelling, the intricacies.
It was masterful, man. It was masterful. They're getting back to vintage wrestling. They're getting back to that poetry and motion in the ring. They're getting back to telling stories with wrestling instead of always telling it on the mic. They're getting back to where it all began. And I think Triple H is behind that. I think he's behind it.
This is why we love wrestling.
Yes.
I mean, the stories. Like, people were telling me, isn't wrestling fake? I'm like, what movie are you watching? That isn't fake. You just watching all these documentaries? Even then, it's a little scripted.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell everyone that says that to me, I say, your favorite movie's fake. I tell them that. That's how I respond. I say, your favorite movie's fake. Your favorite TV show is fake. Your favorite Netflix series is fake.
Star Wars.
Fake.
Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter. Yep. Fake.
Oh, Harry Potter's definitely fake. Oh my God. You mean tell me he really cast that spell? You mean tell me there's really a Hogwarts, really?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Sounds like a made-up world to me.
Fake as could be, my friend.
Man, there's no better time to be a wrestling fan. And with a story as well detailed as the Bloodline story's been for, honestly, the last 3 years, it makes competition, kind of pick up the pace. And AEW was that brand that came along the scene to make WWE be like, okay, maybe we should start trying a little bit.
Yes.
And now AEW had a pay-per-view the day after Night Champions, and started out with a Battle Royal, Orange Cassidy retaining the International Championship. I thought this was a good time to get the title off of him. Maybe get on Swerve Strickland. No?
Nope. I mean, and this is where I'm telling you right now, if you didn't notice about me, I'm a huge Orange Cassidy fan. I think that his character, the appeal to the younger fan is big with Orange Cassidy. And it was only a matter of time before a title got put on Orange Cassidy. Even when he came into AEW 2 years back, it was only a matter of time No, it was 3 years back. I'm sorry, it was 3 years back that Orange Cassidy was getting a title put on him. It was only a matter of time, and the fact that he's holding that title, doing practically nothing, but his ring appearance has been so great. His ring appearance was great that night as well too. Orange can put butts in seats. He's one of those guys that I think is very, very appealing with his character alone. So keep the title on Orange a little longer. Keep it on him a little longer because he's carrying that title. He's carrying that division right now.
I'll agree with the character work. I mean, I see so many people will dress like Orange Cassidy
Yes.
go into AEW shoes. I mean, Grant, it might be because it's a lazy costume or whatever, but
that's his character, man. That's his character.
That
Absolutely
is his
nothing.
character.
He's a slacker. He's a slacker, man. For real. It's so simple. It's brilliant.
And honestly, I don't think he needs a title. That's my only thing is I don't think he needs a title in order to be relevant. But he keeps it in Battle Royal. He'll eventually lose it, I'm sure, in a one-on-one match.
Yeah.
Don't know when that will come, but we got a one-on-one match that honestly could main event literally any show.
Absolutely.
As the second match on the card.
Absolutely.
And it was Chris Jericho, Le Champion, the Demogod, the Ocho versus Adam Cole.
Baby.
And that could main event any show, and I would not be upset. Do you think this match delivered? Because I've seen some comments on social media saying it wasn't like aggressive enough.
You know, I was really, really taken aback of that right there. What do you want out of these two right here, man? Okay, you've got Chris Jericho, who's like we talked about with Trish Stratus, the springboard. He's the quintessential springboard. What he done with Kenny? What he done with Kenny? Bolster Kenny's career. What he's done with Sammy Guevara. These young guys in AEW right now. It was a smart move to put the first AEW championship on Chris Jericho. It would have been cool to see Adam Page get it. Yeah, sure. But honestly, putting it on Chris Jericho means that this title means everything to us. With probably one of the greatest wrestlers of our time period, holding that title right now was a big thing. But what do you expect out of these guys? Right? You have Chris Jericho, probably the greatest, if not one of the best, against Adam Cole, who has really, really exceeded expectations everywhere he's went. Well, his WWE run, okay. We'll leave that alone.
Whoa.
But no,
his NXT run was great.
Whoa, chill. Now listen to me. There were too many guys. There were too many guys. Yes, I said chill. But there were too many guys at that time that were being pushed over Adam Cole, and it was unfair to him. I think it was very unfair. But at that time, the marketability was not there for him, and that's not his fault. So I can't really put that on Adam Cole. I expected a little more out of his WWE tenure. I expected a little more out of it, but it wasn't his fault. Bad booking kicked his butt, and other guys getting booked over him kicked his butt, and that wasn't fair. Now that I will say. But the smartest move for him to do is to go AEW with his buddies. And it was a smart move because of the way that fan base, that audience, that crowd is with him. And of course, with the other guys in there that he can springboard off of. That match right there made Adam Cole a lot better. And he was great already. Putting him in a ring with Chris Jericho, who a lot of people didn't think, people like me probably would never see. From the time and the tenure that Chris Jericho had in all of wrestling, and then Adam Cole, as young as he is, stepping in the ring with somebody with the likes of Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho made him look great. Quintessential classic Ric Flair. Made somebody greater that was already great.
30 years of Chris Jericho.
What do you expect? I mean, I read all those comments. I'm like, are you kidding me, guys? Where have you been in the past 5, 10 years when wrestling was sitting on his butt, not really doing much, and you had to go to other platforms to watch good wrestling? Come on, man, get out of here.
You know who's
How dare you
producing?
say that?
Know who's producing that good wrestling? Adam Cole, baby.
Thank you. I mean, for real, but
Young
how dare you
Bucks.
say that? With some of the matches we were relegated to watch in the past 5 years, that made no daggone sense. No, get out of here with that mess.
And they still are keeping this story alive. They're going to have Adam Cole and Britt Baker team up tonight on Dynamite against Chris Jericho and Saraya. Gosh, sign me up.
I
10
like
out of
it.
10 days.
I like it. I mean, for real, these are four great performers right now, and men's and women's. You're taking the best of both worlds right now and letting those worlds collide with each other in the ring. Great idea, smart move. Why not do it? Especially on a Wednesday night, you would get that at All In. You would get that at Night of Champions. You would get that in the Impact pay-per-views. More or less, you get that at Wrestle Kingdom, maybe.
You
So why
you
not?
get pay-per-view quality matches on Dynamite, which is what we have
Yeah.
to look forward to tonight. But we gotta keep going on this Double or Nothing card because FTR retained the titles against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. They've had a tag team run over the last 12 months. And really, it wasn't anything they did, even though it was a solid match. It was the guitar shot heard around the world where Karen Jarrett laid out Aubrey Edwards. That was the speaking moment. I mean, I don't know where that ranks on the guitar shots of all time, but is that
I'm
top 10 for you?
I'm gonna tell you what though. It's got to be maybe if you take all of Jeff Jarrett's guitar shots, probably the best guitar shot of all time was Unforgiven. Was when he did the one in Unforgiven, and I mean, no, I probably say the best one is when he hit the guitar shot on Elias. I thought that was ironic. The reason being is because I grew up with Jeff Jarrett hitting guys with guitars for a long time, and it was only a matter of time before somebody like Elias gets hit with a guitar because he got on my nerves. So that was the reason
Man.
why I loved it. So I mean, no disrespect to Elias. I like Elias. Shout out to Elias. I mean, I like him, but his gimmick got a little stale, and then Jeff Jarrett came in there and hit him with a guitar. That was awesome. I thought it was great. I mean, for real. I'm sorry. I know old man dry humor here.
Hey, I'm not letting this Elias hate walk anymore.
No, I
because
like Elias.
we
No, for real, I do.
walk with Elias.
I do. I like Elias. Now, chill. I have an Elias shirt right now in the drawer. I should have wore it today if we were going to talk about guitar shots right now. I should have wore it. But with that being said, I thought it was great because it was because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, Elias with this gimmick, and then Jeff Jarrett hitting guys with guitars since the 2000s made my childhood right here. This guitar shot made younger me start cheering because I'm like, man, it's been years since I've seen this. I mean, really, it has been. I think what was the last time? I think that was the last time he hit somebody with a guitar on television was Elias. I think that was it. I think it was. I mean, for real, man. And I thought that the Chosen One music was going to come out from WCW when he done it.
Man, one of my favorite guitar shots was I was there live for it. Was Jeff Jarrett versus Matt Hardy at the WrestleCade convention back several years ago, and it messed Matt Hardy up pretty bad, and I was rooting for Jeff Jarrett, so it didn't bother me one bit. But speaking, you can't mention Hardys without mentioning the Dudley Boys, without mentioning Edge and Christian. Edge is nearing his end in WWE, but Christian wrestled a ladder match against Wardlow. He lost the TNT title ladder match, but I was really impressed by Christian. I got the impression of like, hey, all his concussion history, all his injuries, he can still go. And I'm like, wow, good for you, Christian.
Absolutely. I mean, talking with guys like Shawn crazy ladder matches. Even talking to the Hardys, Edge and Christians, who have had your share of ladder matches. A lot of these guys talk about how the ladder match is probably one of the matches that takes years off your career. And seeing Christian in a ladder match for the first time in a long time, once again, younger me is having a fit right now with all these guitar shots, and Trish Stratus being as gorgeous as she is still at 47 years old is really making me smile right now, because that was great. Was he gonna win that match? No. I didn't think he was gonna beat Wardlow. I thought it would be criminal to have him beat Wardlow, but putting him in a match that was kind of in his favor was really cool. I thought that was really cool, because Christian has had a lot of ladder matches in his lifetime, with and without Edge, and with and without the Hardy Boys. So I thought that was really, really cool to put Christian in a match like that. And of course, with it being as good as it was, Christian can still go. He's still great. I was a little worried that when they put the TNA title on him, a little bit ago, I was like, okay, guys, y'all, I know y'all trying to bring back Christian Cage. I know you are, but y'all relax. That's not Christian Cage we're seeing. This is Christian. This is Christian, not Christian Cage. Relax. But no. I think the outwork everybody thing is really doing it for Christian. You know what I'm saying?
He's outworking everyone, but honestly, he worked everyone turning heel, and it's done wonders for him now.
Yes.
Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter had a match. Jamie Hayter losing the AEW Women's title. And I'll admit, I had a long day that day and fell asleep. And then the next image I have waking up is Tony Storm holding the title. I was like, Dad, what happened? I did not expect Jamie Hayter to lose the title. But this Tony Storm, Saraya, Ruby Riott, that's Outcast.
Yeah.
It's kind of working.
It is. I mean, it really is. I didn't want Jamie Hayter to lose the title. I really didn't, because I think she was doing a heck of a job. She's she's one of those heel characters that you're just kind of like, you know what? I like this heel character. It was pretty dope. But, Tony Storm is doing really, really well. Once again, Saraya, Ruby Riott, whoever you want to call her, this is a good combination. They're a good group together. I like it. I mean, and of course, she's a darker champion, which is really cool. Because of course, Jamie Hayter, even though she was a heel, even though she was somebody like Tony Storm, who is kind of like that darker image wrestler, kind of like a female Darby Allin in a way. I think that's actually really cool to put a title on her like that. And her being young and appealing and all that is dope. I like that.
Well, it wasn't bad,
No.
and we'll see how this title reign goes. I feel like there's a lot more legs for the Outcast versus Britt Hayter and that crew right there. They keep building these stories, and
Yes.
they have intricate details in all their storylines, and seeing the paper of Tony Khan where he like maps everything out, kind of crazy, kind of takes your thing for a spin. But we had the AEW Trios title match, House of Black beating the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn's still looking like he's $1 million.
I know, man. I mean, you don't age.
Got some Billy Gunn stories we've had conversations with over Cracker Barrel.
Yes, sir.
But,
yes, sir.
I love Malachi Black, love Buddy, met both of them. Seeing what they're doing with House of Black, getting that opportunity. Do you like the House of Black open rules?
I do.
Okay.
I think, honestly, I think Aleister Black is kind of like this generation's Raven. I really think he is. I think that to me is really cool, because I see a lot of parallels in Raven with Aleister Black. I like it. It's really cool. Raven's rules in WCW. Yes, I love that.
Ooh, I had not heard or thought of the Raven comparison until now. I've heard a lot of Undertaker, especially
Yes.
when he was with WWE. Uh, man, I really like that Raven comparison, especially when you talk about being underrated and
Yes.
the mind he has. It's that's a pretty good compliment for Malachi Black. They retain the AEW Trios title. I love their run right now. I love the
Yes.
House of Black open rules, allowing the dealer's choice, and the claim kind of like, hey, we don't need it. Well, yeah, you did
Yeah,
because
you did.
you lost. As soon as you get hit with that black mass or heel kick,
Yeah.
whatever he's calling it now in AEW, lights out. It's over.
Oh,
Game,
it's a
set,
great idea.
match.
It's a great idea. I think that them taking that and running with it has been great because they used it before and they were like, you know what, the crowd likes this. Let's go with this,
Let's
and it's
go.
worked real well. And plus, I pulled the Raven plug because I actually thought Raven was undervalued in WCW. Giving them the world, giving them the U.S. title, and then having them lose it to Goldberg the next time around after beat my boy DDP. DDP's my
Mhm.
boy. He beat DDP, and then Raven goes and jackhammers him on Monday Night Raw, and then that was it of Raven's championship run. I thought he was undervalued. I really did. But Raven, of course, ECW Raven is incredible. And I think Aleister Black is, I think that's him. I know I said his name and I shouldn't have said it, but Malachi Black, my bad. I think that my bad. WWE's going to get me for that. But I think honestly, he's the Raven. I think he is. I think he's Raven.
Quote Malachi Black or the House of Black, nevermore.
Nevermore.
And what's nevermore, Jade Cargill wrestled Ty Valkyrie right after the House of Black match, and Jade Cargill won 60-0. She's the AEW's TBS champion. And Mark Sterling comes in, starts cutting a promo saying she's beating everybody and nobody's stepping up to her, da da da. And then Chris Statlander shows up. And all of a sudden we get a match and Chris Statlander beats Jade Cargill on pay-per-view, ending the 60-0 streak, ending a 500-plus day TBS title run. And now we finally have our second TBS champion in history in Chris Statlander. I mean, what? I mean, Jade and Taya put on a really good match, probably the best match of Jade's career. And then
Yes.
Chris Statlander comes up and just, hey, we'll beat her now for the title. I don't know if I like. I mean, I get the surprise element, but I don't know if I like ending it at 60-0. Nor do I like just a spontaneous title match and boom, for no reason whatsoever, we have Chris Statlander as our TBS champion.
I don't know about this one. This was the one that kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, what just happened here? It happened so fast. It happened so fast. I couldn't process it, and right now, even days after, I still can't process it. I mean, I don't know what the angle was. We'll probably have to see tonight, if we find out tonight, what that angle was. It was very, very odd. I don't know what to make of it. I still don't. I mean, maybe we'll find out tonight. I don't know, but I mean, stopping the streak, I get it. Changing the title, I get it.
But now, I mean, and that's just me. That's just me in terms of I was not up for, I get the surprise element of the pay-per-view, but I whatever. Chris Statlander's your new TBS Women's Champion, and that was a shocker. But what wasn't a shocker was what happened right after. It was the Four Pillars match: Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, MJF. The biggest surprise was Sammy Guevara is going to be a dad, and
Yeah,
Jungle Boy
yeah,
character for that one.
yeah. That was dope. I like that. I mean, you have those times where we love wrestling and we love following the script and things of that nature. But stuff like that, you just kind of like, you know what? Cool.
Cool.
Why not? Cool.
And Sammy gets a lot of hate for just being him and being loud, obnoxious, and starting drama in the backstage. Da da da. Da. But
Absolutely.
I mean, he's talented. Congrats to him and Ty Mello.
Yeah.
That's or Ty Guevara, I guess now. That's the yeah. Sammy's going to be a dad, and MJF is still your AEW World Champion. Best move of the match, beating Darby Allin with a headlock takeover.
Yeah, man.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, but are we seeing a signaling of a singles match coming up? Are we seeing that with them two going at each other the most? Looking at that match there, even though, I think that Darby is probably in line, I believe, I think he has the best chance of getting that AEW championship. I think he does. Out of those four guys who can go at, we all knew that MJF was going to keep the title. We knew.
Yeah.
We all knew. I mean, there was no mistake in that. But they were like, look, guys, we already know the outcome of this match right here, but let's make this match something memorable. Let's go out there and let's kick each other's butts, shall we? Well, don't go out there and let it seem like it's going to be one-sided and this guy's going to take the title. We know, we get it. But y'all, give everything that you got. Throw everything in there with the kitchen sink. Give 250%. You won't be sorry. And they weren't.
And they weren't. And that's what they built this on. Like, this is the Four Pillars match. This is a once-in-a-lifetime match for the AEW World title. Go ahead and do it. No, you're going to leave all out on there. Mm-hmm. And, dude, they did it. And I think it was the best match of the night.
It was.
And that's even saying that because the main event was Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite in Anarchy in the Arena. Where Wild Thing is playing, and I not like the band playing for reasons I will not talk about on air. Shannon and I can talk about it off air. But let's focus on, this was a great match, bloody, nasty.
Yes.
Somebody got some thumbtacks in their foot, worse than Legos. I'm assuming.
That was rough, boy. Ooh.
But the match ended with Takeshita turning heel.
Yeah.
And presumably joining Don Callis in the Blackpool Combat Club. That was a swerve.
Very much. I mean, very much. I thought it was a surprise when he got Kenny. I thought that was a surprise there, but this, yes.
It was a surprise.
Very. Did not see that coming at all. Did not see it coming.
So, I mean, this just feels like it's continuing to add up. Blackpool Combat Club recruiting Don Callis, recruiting Takeshita. Like, what's next for this story? Where would you like to see this go?
Michael Nakazawa. That's a joke. That's
okay.
That's a joke. That's my challenge to be in the Elite episodes right there. My bad. But I would have to say that, Kenny's obvious rift with Don Callis is going to probably be one of the centerfolds of this story. And now with Takeshi, that adds a lot of elements to this right here. Is Kenny going to go at? Is Kenny going to get a chance to do this right here? Who are you going to send after? Who are you going to send after Takeshi? Who are you going to do? Who are you going to send this? Because we already
know. Shannon broke up for a second right there, but I think back to Don Callis and Kenny Omega. I showed my dad this match because my dad had saw El Hijo del Vikingo on like Facebook reel. I'm like, have you ever seen any of this stuff? He's like, no. I'm like, he was on AEW a couple months ago against Kenny Omega.
Yes.
I mean, like, and so I showed him the match and we left it on for the afterwards, and Blackpool Combat Club comes out, beats up Kenny Omega. Oh my gosh, they must have taken out the Young Bucks earlier tonight. And then, Don Callis, as soon as Blackpool Combat Club come in, Don Callis leaves.
Yeah.
And he's ringside, and then Hangman Page comes,
Yeah.
vacates the ring, and Don Callis kind of does an Eddie Guerrero and acts like he's been punched by Hangman Page, creating some animosity towards Page and Omega. And I looked at that, I'm like, they had been setting this up 2
Boy,
months in
wow.
advance.
They've already been setting this up because, with Adam Cole going back to the Elite, which I think is a great idea, to be honest with you. I think he done his best work with the Elite. I think he did his best work. Now, when he was the Cowboy, now on the other hand, it was dope. I liked it, but the Hangman character is synonymous with Bullet Club, where him and Kenny did a lot of their best work in their wrestling careers. So why not go back to the essence and then have the Young Bucks in there as well too? Why not go back to the essence? I mean, for real, this was a well put together storyline, and I think it's going to rival. Don't get mad at me when I say this, but I think it's going to rival that Bloodline rivalry there. I think it's going to rival it. I think it's going to rival it. I think it's going to compete with it. I think it's going to have those elements in there because of the bad blood from the get-go. I think it's going to be something like that.
Well, if this was Friday in Out Pocket, you would know what I would call that tape. But instead, it's drop the mic, and we are out the top of the hour, so we just got to drop the mic. But this storytelling is great. You can obviously go follow the Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel, where Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast is. Go subscribe. We're over 800 subs. I think we're at like 820, 830 or something. Out of Pocket this Friday live at 4:00 with yours truly on the Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Shannon, for stopping by on Drop the Mic today. Again, don't forget to subscribe, and whatever you do, don't drop the mic. We will see you all next week on Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast.
Nuggets and 5. Nuggets and 5.
All right.
Nuggets and
You're
5.
done. You're done. You're done. Mute his mic. Mute his mic.